Well, I'm long Bitcoin. Not only do I own it in through a wallet, but I'm long it from the CME futures. I see that we're going. I think we're going higher. I think the next benchmark price will be probably 35 and then 40,000. Again, I don't like to make gigantic projections because I really don't know how the overall market's going to react. But it would not surprise me if we're at 35 or 40,000 by year end.
Meanwhile,
what are you doing? What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Bitcoin officially sideways for a full-on month. Yes, you can see right here, we had the BlackRock news, the excitement. That was around the 21st of last month, excuse me. And yeah, it's been a month of sideways consolidation, so I can sense there's a lot of boredom right now. We had the excitement over the XRP case, right? But there is something we need to talk about because you know that when times get like this calm before the storm, that's usually when you expect that massive volatility, right? Now, there is some on-chain data that is giving us some clues as to what could be happening. So I assure you, do not get too comfortable because I'm going to let you know most likely what these guys are doing in the background and also why next week is very, very big for crypto. In fact, we have two very large events, also one of the largest options expiry in history. Pretty incredible. So I want to discuss that, and I also want to talk about how everyone was celebrating this XRP victory, but now the SEC is looking like they want to push back and appeal against it. So we're going to talk about how that could actually affect things moving forward. And also just talk about the Bitcoin price, potential price action, and why I think a lot of people are going to be very frustrated and angry that they were not paying attention to Bitcoin right now. So that being said, guys, if you like this type of content, I'm actually going to put the TA at the end of the video because I'm just kind of tired of talking about the same things, okay? But, you know, if you're interested, obviously stick around. There is over $56,000 worth of bonuses in the links below. Take advantage of that. And I do recommend you guys check out my tutorials because the best time to learn is when nothing's really happening, right? Once it's all happening, that's when you just make a lot of those irrational, emotional decisions. So looking right here though, before we get into the charts and the news, I just wanted to talk about some simple on-chain metrics. The fact that you could see right now, we have the total Bitcoin supply held by long-term holders at an all-time high. So we have a lot of people that are holding on to their Bitcoin. They're not looking to sell at these prices. And we also have proof that we have exchange inflow volume for Bitcoin reaching a 1-month low. So again, if you've been watching this channel for a while, it's very simple. When you have a lot of Bitcoin getting sent to the exchanges, the assumption is someone's looking to sell. When you have a lot of Bitcoin being removed from exchanges, the obvious solution to why this is happening is most likely that people are not looking to sell. They're looking to hold, right? There's a lot also going on in the world right now, which is making cryptocurrency and Bitcoin look a lot more lucrative, a lot more just enticing than, for example, the US dollar, because you have $78 billion that has exited the US banking system in just 1 week. So from July 5th to July 12th, $78 billion. Where's this money going? Why are they removing it? Well, obviously people don't trust the banks, right? They say banks are feeling the pressure to compete with higher yield money market accounts or, higher yield DeFi. Autonomous research analyst Brian Foran says that Diamonds Alert represents a definite curb your enthusiasm moment for banks after an industry-wide surge in second quarter profits. U.S. banks are also bracing for fallout in the commercial real estate sector, fueled by the emergence of remote and hybrid work environments. But, getting back, of course, to Todd Horwitz, he was over on Kitco News, and, they were talking about his sort of opinion on the fact that, the system is broken, people don't trust the banks, and RFK Jr., who, has his presidential campaign, and he is pro-Bitcoin, he was discussing about having the dollar backed by a basket of not digital, but just assets in general, right? He was talking about maybe gold, silver, plutonium, but he also threw Bitcoin in there. And this is what Todd kind of had to say about whether or not we could or should be going in that direction.
What do you make of the idea that Bitcoin has been put in here, along with hard commodities like gold, silver, and platinum, at least by Robert Kennedy Jr.?
Well, I'm a believer in Bitcoin. Okay, I think that the crypto world is, I call it the currency of the libertarian. Okay, because again, it's cannot be we know that there's always some funny things going on with all these different cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin is proven to be pretty steady. Ethereum has been proven to be pretty steady. Okay, and I think that they are real currencies, or they're real commodities, anyways. And of course, the CFTC has recognized that, and we all know, or maybe not all, but the ruling last week from the SEC and Ripple. Okay, so that has been deemed as either a currency or a commodity. I think that it's a real source that does trade 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay, so it has a real market behind it. Okay, and if you're going to use it as a basket, would have no problem with that, because I do own it, and I do believe that it is real, and I do believe that it's going to play a much bigger role. I think government has tried to stop it for years, and they failed at every turn, which is why now you see the Bitcoin and Ethereum traded actively as futures contracts on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. You see a lot of ETFs out there right now. You've got Coin, which is a broker, but if you have cash in Coin, it is guaranteed like a bank. So I think that it's only natural in the natural rotation.
And of course, while everybody's really here, he also had a bit of a price prediction for the end of the year, if you're interested.
But let's talk about the Bitcoin price for a second. It's upward around 80% year to date, trading at around $30,000 now, give or take. What's your outlook on Bitcoin, Bevel?
I think
let's say for the next 6 months.
Well, I'm long Bitcoin. Not only do I own it through a wallet, but I'm long it from the CME futures. I see that I think we're going higher. I think the next benchmark price will be probably 35 and then 40,000. Again, I don't like to make gigantic projections because I really don't know how the overall market's going to react, but it would not surprise me if we're at 35 or 40,000 by year end.
Now, we've been talking about this potential target, right? Anywhere between $47,000 to even $57,000. If you're curious how we get that number, stick around. I'll show you once again. But obviously, the BlackRock ETF will be a big rubber yes stamp for Bitcoin. This is coming from Charles Edwards over at Capriol Investment. And if you don't know what's been going on lately with these TikTok trends, let's explain a little bit about how BlackRock controls the world.
Wow, thank you for the likes. Thank you for the hearts. Ice cream's so good. Yummy hot dog. GG, GG. Thank you for the likes. Ice cream's so good. Quick, before they find me, BlackRock owns most United States banks. They own all major pharma companies and mainstream media. They oversee 10% of all stocks traded worldwide. They manage over $10 trillion in assets, which is half of the United States GDP. BlackRock and Vanguard, own 18% of Fox, 16% of CBS, 13% of Comcast, which also controls NBC, MSNBC, CNBC, Sky News, and they own 12% of Disney. They are the biggest institutional investors of Google, Facebook, Amazon, and now they're buying up all the homes and artificially inflating your mortgage so you will own nothing and be happy. I have to go.
I couldn't even take that beginning part seriously. What is this weird NPC AI trend that's going on? Somebody explain it to me. I'm starting to feel like maybe I'm the boomer in the room because these trends are just very weird, very concerning. But yeah, I like how she flipped that around at the end. And the point anyway of what we just watched is ultimately the fact that BlackRock has their hands in everything. They usually know something. And I would be quite surprised if BlackRock is filing this ETF and not thinking that they are going to win, right? So, of course, though, speaking of our good old buddy Gary and the SEC, we do have the SEC suggesting that it may appeal the ruling against Ripple Labs, which deemed XRP not to be a security when sold to retail investors. They argue that the rulings go against the fundamental securities law principles, the Howey test, etc., because that's all they got, right? They got the Howey test, that's it. This whole organization just keep repeating the same thing, don't actually answer any questions. The SEC's latest comment on the Ripple Labs lawsuits were made in a separate lawsuit against Terraform Labs and its founder, Do Kwon, over allegedly orchestrating a multi-billion-dollar crypto asset securities fraud. Now, I am not necessarily a huge, crazy altcoin fan, but I think when you compare what happened with Do Kwon versus what's going on with Ripple Labs, it's kind of like apples and oranges, okay? Just got to be honest here. But anyway, the SEC statements come just days after Gary Gensler expressed his disappointment over the court deeming XRP not to be a security. Gary Gensler, he was disappointed. Not biased, not neutral, disappointed. That's an agenda. We are pleased that the court, because we all know Gary works for the banks, right? You guys do know that, right? We are pleased that the court addressed that a token for institutional investors is a security, disappointed in the other aspects about retail investors. We are still taking a look and considering it, but, the kicker, Ripple's reasoning is impossible to reconcile with all of these fundamental security laws principles. And guess what, guys? Next week, we have a lot of events. First of all, we have the potential Fed, right? They took a pause, but now you have almost 100% saying that they're going to do a 25 basis points. So if they don't raise rates, you may see fireworks. 25 iffy, obviously listen to the tone of voice. But you know what else is happening next week as well? We have the House Financial Service Committee and the Committee of Agriculture reviewing the Financial Innovation and Technology 21st Century Act. So why is this important? Well, the bill is going to provide guidance for determining whether a digital asset is a security, registration requirements for exchanges and brokers, and the establishment of a joint advisory commission. Oh, and on top of that, lawmakers are also going to be considering a second bill introduced in February by Patrick McHenry, chairman of the FSC, outlining regulatory recommendations for stable coins and stable issuers. If approved, the bills will move to the U.S. House of Representatives. So while there may be the SEC trying to hold us back, there's a lot more people, I would say, at this point pushing back. In fact, my brothers across the pond over at the UK, or that might be Australia, I don't know the saying, but over in the UK, you had their Economic and Finance Ministry, HM Treasury, strongly denying proposals by the House of Commons Treasury Committee to regulate cryptocurrencies like gambling. So basically, they had called for unbacked cryptos to be regulated like gambling, but in a response, which happened Thursday this week, you had them basically saying that they firmly disagree. So that is a bit of a win for cryptocurrency. Now on to the TA, which has not changed. We have been going sideways for a month. So this is either some of the largest accumulation we've seen, or it's just going to be a giant BART fake out pattern. Could be, possibly. I believe, though, that even if we have a shakeout to the downside, things like we've seen here, these big wicks, like we see here, even this guy, even that was on a downtrend. Here's one on an uptrend, right? I think we could see something like this. I think we could see a fake out. We may even retest the parallel trend. Who knows? We had this touch right here. We had this touch right here. Well, that was a few months, but we never really had that second retest, right? So, we could possibly come back down to around 25 to 26, but I do believe that we will continue to the upside. I believe that we clearly have the momentum on the daily. While the weekly is, somewhat neutral, the fact that we've come out of the red, I would say, is indicative of what we tend to do. I mean, you can't deny the similarities, right? Look at here, right? 3 blues and a red, blue and a red, 3 blues and a red. And basically all we're looking for is that green and that lighter teal, right? Very similar on the market cipher, which if you guys are interested, check that out below. If you want to learn how to trade with that, very, very good for beginners. I use it a lot on the channel. And then of course, we have this breakout where we had the retest. And I told you guys that, you're looking at this area, and I'll draw the line fresh with you right here. You can kind of see right around here, we have this sort of $47,000 area. Now, yes, of course, we're going to get a little bit right here, a little bit at 37, right? But yeah, I do believe that we are headed up to some of these higher levels by the end of the year, just like Horowitz was talking about. And we do have a CME futures gap up at 35,000, and 95% of the time, these gaps do tend to get closed. And also, history doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. And some people don't know what that statement means. Somebody asked me in the comments. Well, basically what that means is that you're not going to have the exact same scenario, right? But it will rhyme. The same way that, say, you're listening to a song, right? Maybe the chorus is always the same, but the verse changes a little bit, right? But the first and second verse are similar, right? They have similar music, maybe different lyrics, but if you've heard the first verse and the chorus ends and we're going into the second verse, even if you've never heard the song before in your whole life, you kind of know what you're expecting. You might not know the lyrics, but you might know the pattern and the beats, right? So it's the same concept, right? Same thing how you have these downward sloping trends, you retest them, you break out of them, right? It's like what we did right back here. And keep in mind, this had a massive fake out, right? Bitcoin fell from $230. I know, $230, right? Well, actually, let's do this with our tool. Curious here. So we were up here around 313 before we had the dip, retested, and fell down about 45%. Look at that fake out. And people were probably like, oh my God, I need to sell. This is crazy. And then what did we do? We retested. And then from that breakout point, we had a 7,800% move. Now, I'm not expecting that due to diminishing returns, but you could see again, same thing, right? Here is the level of resistance. Here is the downward sloping trend. Here is the retest. Here is the breakout. Same thing right here. Here is our box, the bottom representing where we have our support. This support right here is now acting as our resistance right here. And what did we have right here? Well, we had the downward sloping trend, we had the breakout, we had the retest, and now we're continuing to the upside. So yeah, there may be an opportunity to, who knows, maybe Bitcoin goes even lower than I'm thinking. And maybe we have a crash all the way down to this $21,000 level. But the fact that we've been holding this line pretty much since July of 2017, I would say that puts time on our side. And once we get above this 1.618, you could see getting out of this area of accumulation really puts you back into this red zone. Again, minimally targeting, you can see right here, 47,000. In fact, if you want the exact number, it's 47,468. This is just math, people. It's not my opinion. This is actual math, okay? And finally, as you guys can see right here, very simply, we are at the top of this blue zone. So again, anything below this was massive accumulation. Anything above it is, if you've been long, if you held a long, I really should do a video on best practices for trading, because holding a long from the bottom to the top, it's impressive. And I'm sure you can make a lot of money, but you can also make a lot more money selling and then re-longing the dips, and you're not going to end up paying as much money in fees. So again, if those are things that you want to learn, check out my tutorials. I will explain in depth strategies to save you money when you're trading, right? For example, simple things like, a post only, maker versus taker, right? Do you guys, do you know the difference between like the limit and the immediate fill? Well, one's going to cost you a lot more money. So if you want to learn about all that, check that out below. But for the most part, guys, everything remains the same. We may have a retest again around the 25 to 27K level. It's possible. Maybe we want to just double check the 25.3 Terra Luna flip, but I still see this as moving to the upside. I still see the trend being our friend. And unless there's something absolutely catastrophic, or like, I don't know, the Fed comes out and raises rates like 1% or something, then I still am bullish on Bitcoin. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Again, if you do want to trade, check out these tutorials. I can't stress it enough. I put a lot of time and effort into them. Use the links below. Get those bonuses. They're free. And yeah, so that's it for me. Again, you're awesome. Check it out. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.